Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to revise the lesson The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde. Now, this lesson, The Selfish Giant, is a beautiful fictitious story, imaginary story by Oscar Wilde. And the story revolves around a play garden, which becomes very grand, very lavish in the presence of children. But in the absence of children, the garden becomes dull, dry. And this story gives us a message. And the message is to treat children in the right way, because children are the messengers of God. They are angels. Now, let us quickly revise this story. We have already done the text part of the story and the overview of the story in the previous videos. Today, we are going to revise the story as the story is going to come in your periodic test. So let us revise. There was a lovely garden in a city. Beautiful garden with lot of flowers, and because it was a lovely garden, children, they used to play there after the school time. There were numerous grass flowers and peach trees there. They used to cheer the kids, and birds used to sing in mesmerizing songs. So the garden looked very beautiful because there were lovely flowers, there were greenery all round, and the children used to play and the birds used to sing. In the spring, plant brought flowers, while in winter they were giving sweet fruits. So in the winter and the spring, the garden was full of life, and the kids were happy like never before. But this happiness was for a short time. Why it was for a short time? Because the garden belonged to a selfish giant. And the selfish giant had gone to his friend Cornish Oak's home for 7 years. But after 7 years, he now returned back. And when he saw the children in his garden, he got very angry. He scolded the children. And to stop the children from coming, he built a wall around the yard. And he also put up a notice board, trespassers will be prosecuted. Means anyone who enters his garden, who trespasses his garden, they are going to be punished. Now, because of this, no children came to his garden. As a result, there was always winter in his garden. The trees, grasses, birds, they all became sad, as the children were not there to hang around their twigs, and the birds missed because the children was not to hear the birds' songs. Even the trees stopped giving flowers and fruits because the birds had stopped singing. Now, the spring season came in the whole country, but it did not enter the giant's garden. Because of this, there was always winter in the giant's garden. Once by mistake, a flower bloomed, but then he saw the notice board that children are not going to be allowed, and the flower, it It went back. It did not bloom. Now the giant became restless, very disturbed. He did not understand why there was always winter in his garden. The snow had covered the grasses with white sheet. Frost had painted all the trees with silver color. Frost, snow, they invited north wind, chilly winds from the north. Winds from the north started coming to his garden, roaring. North wind brought hail to the garden. And because of this hail, the chimneys and roof slates, they all were broken. Now one day, children made a hole in the wall and they entered the giant's garden. And the spring came. Birds came, started singing with the coming of children. The giant woke up. He had not heard songs for a long time. Birds were chirping like king's musician to him. And he woke up as he heard the sound of linnet bird and he looked down. What did he see? He saw the children were playing in the garden and trees were welcoming the children by lowering their branches, their twigs, and children were climbing onto the branches of the trees. Now the giant realized why spring had come so late, because he had banned the entry of children in his garden. He saw a kid in the garden alone, and this kid was trying to climb the tree. Frost and snow was still there on that tree. The tree had lowered his branches to help out the child to climb. But this child was too small to climb. So the giant very secretly went behind the child and helped the child to climb. Now the child had climbed the tree. The child was very happy, and in return he kissed the giant's cheek. Now other children who were frightened and were running away from the garden because the giant had come. But when they saw the giant was changed, he was not selfish anymore, he was not cruel anymore. He was helping this little boy to climb onto the tree. They also became very happy. And the giant asked the kids to stay in his garden. And he broke the wall and removed the notice board. So from now onwards, children were allowed to come in his garden. Now children started playing in his garden. They thanked the giant, and the giant kept asking about the small child. Other kids were not knowing about this little child. They told that they also saw that kid for the first time. Days passed by. The giant was missing the child because this child had kissed him on his cheeks. Now years passed by. The giant became old. He was now not selfish and cruel. He had become a very kind, a very nice giant. But he never forgot the kid. Now he has also understood that winter and spring, the change of season, they are natural process. And he did not fear the winter. It was just a passing phase, because after winter comes spring. One day he saw the small kid, that very kid playing on the same tree. The giant was very happy and he ran towards the boy, shouting, "Where were you? Where were you?" But when he reached near the kid, he saw there were big nail scratches on his hand and feet. Now the giant was very angry. He was in rage. He was in anger. He wanted to know how this had happened. The child said that no, these are the wounds, the injuries of love. This child was an angel, God, an angel, a messenger of God, and he had come to take the giant to the kingdom of heaven, to paradise. The child replied, "Once you allowed me to play in your garden. Now today I have come to take you with me to the garden of heaven, to the garden of paradise." Next day, when the children came in the afternoon to play in the giant's garden, they saw that the giant was lying dead. He was covered with white flowers near the tree. So now the giant was no more, but he had changed from a selfish giant to a kind giant, and God had sent a messenger to take him to his garden of paradise, his garden of heaven. We'll stop here, children. Hope you have understood the lesson. Revise this lesson by reading the book, watching the videos, and prepare yourself for your periodic test. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care.